Hello, I'm Avril Agarwal and today I'll be covering the parallel processing in processors. Let's go ahead. So basically, I'm going to start with telling the topics that we're going to cover by the end of the video. So basically, the first topic is the parallel processing. Like, what is parallel processing? Why parallel processing? Also, then what are advantages and the disadvantages of parallel processing over other, and also the sequential and the parallel. So basically, a differentiation between the sequential and the parallel processing, like how they're different and which one is better. Also, the forms of processors and the components of ALU and computers, and also the Flynn classification. Before starting, I want to give you a question. So, what do you think? How do we achieve parallelism? Through, like, with or without, with and within the CPU? That means that we're talking about one computer. With many CPUs, that means we're talking about more than one computers. And without CPUs means no computers. Or the fourth option is all of the above. So, what do you think? In which of the in which one of these is we achieve parallelism? I'm not sure, right? So by end of this video, I'm definitely sure you'll be able to answer this. So let's go ahead. So what is parallel processing? Parallel processing, now read carefully with me, is a mode of operation in which a process is split into parts. So basically, we are splitting something. Okay, just keep in mind, splitting something, which are executed simultaneously on a different processors. Simultaneously, splitting into parts on different processors attached to the same computer. Same computer is the underlining word. Okay, so basically what happens is, I give you an example. Supposingly you have a teacher who gives you four tasks. Four tasks are as follows: you have to do addition, you have to do subtraction, you have to do multiplication, you have to do division. So basically you were asked to do four things, right? So now it's on you. Like, you can do all four by yourself, like doing addition first, then doing subtraction, then multiplication, then division. Or second is, you ask three of your friends to help you. So basically you do addition, your friends do subtraction, other friend do the multiplication and division. So what do you think? Which is the fastest method and the easiest method? The fastest one would be the second one, right? Where you ask your friends. So basically, the time it takes for you to do that one single addition, by then all three problems would also have been solved by three different people. So the work has been in continuous, simultaneously working and parallelly. That's why it's parallel processing. So let's read again. By now, it will be clear to you. A mode of operation in which process is split into parts. We are splitting the process into parts, splitting into multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, which are executed simultaneously. All your four friends are doing it simultaneously on different processors attached to the same computer. Same computer meaning same assignment, maybe. Let's go ahead. Why parallel processing? Now the question comes, why? So we already answered that in the previous slide, right? So one goal is to reduce the amount of real time. We are reducing the real time. That will save us on time. Everything is nowadays depending on time complexity. You must be knowing, like, if we take an example of race, there is a race happening between nations. Which nation would win? The nation which will run fastest. Everyone would be able to finish the cross line. Mostly we assume that. But the one who is able to complete the finish line first would be declared as a winner. So basically, here is a similar concept. The faster we are able to do, the faster we are able to interact, the faster we are able to gather results and all. It increases our accuracy, increase our time and also our complexity. So our goal is to reduce the amount of real time that we need to wait for a problem to be solved. So problem would be solved in a less amount of time. Another goal is to solve bigger problems. So this was a smaller problem. Now we're talking about a bigger problem. What bigger problems is that we only have limited memory in a single CPU. So what we have to do is, if we do parallel processing, we are able to fix that problem. That problem of not fitting into single memory of limited memory of single CPU. I hope it's clear, right? Let's go to next. So it's a fun fact, right? Did you know? So basically, a system that performs different operations on the same instructions are not considered parallel. Only if the system processes two different instructions simultaneously can be considered parallel. So if I was talking about the addition subtraction thing, so there are two different instructions. One is like addition, one is subtraction. So they are happening simultaneously. So this is parallel. But in the first case, what it's mentioned is different operations on same instruction. But here we are doing different instructions, right? So if one person would have been doing addition, other person would also have been doing addition. So that's not parallel processing, right? So this is what this fact is gonna was saying all about. Let's go next. So it's a quick question. Is it possible to achieve parallelism with a uniprocessor system? Think. Yeah, so the answer is yes, we can. So let's go ahead. So now talking about the sequential and the parallel processing, we already have talked a little about that. Now I'm gonna extend my views and opinions so that you can understand it better. So in the first sequence series, you can see it's a specific sequence. The program is giving task one, it's going to CPU, and then the result is coming, right? And the program is after finishing the task one, then the program is sending task two, right? So it's a sequence that's happening. But now observe the second, the parallel. What's happening in the parallel is the program is giving task one, task two, task three simultaneously to three different things, right? So all three are giving results together. So basically what's happening is we're reducing this much time to this much time. So that's what this slide is talking about. Let's go now. Now, components of CPU. Basically, CPU is a part of computer, and CPU has the following components: that is control unit, arithmetic logical unit, that is ALU, and the registers, cache memory, the buses, and the clock. Let's see what's ALU, arithmetic logical unit. So arithmetic logical unit is a part of computer processor, CPU, that carries out arithmetic and logical operations on the operand in computer instruction work. So what happens is this ALU does the arithmetic and logical operations, right? Typically the ALU has direct input and output access. So ALU has this feature that it has direct input and output access, simple, to the processor controller, main memory, that is RAM, and the input output devices, simple. Now coming to the types, this is really important. So basically the types are instruction streams and data streams basically. So this is very simple and an amazing chart. So basically instruction streams are the memory and the data streams are the processors. So what happens is if I talk about SISD, right? So it's as simple as that. S means single, I means instruction stream, S means again single, and D means data streams. So it's talking about one instruction stream and one data stream. Now we're coming to MISD. Many instruction streams and one single data stream. SIMD. S stands for single, I stands for instruction stream, M stands for many, and D stands for data streams. So SIMD is single instruction, many data streams. Simple. Now MIMD. MIMD is many instructions, many streams. Simple. So basically, it's telling about that the system is like how much how memory and the processor. So basically, if we talk about MIMD, that has multiple processors, multiple memory. So that's one of the best device. Okay. Then before that, it comes MISD, then SIMD, and then SISD. So better the instruction streams and data streams are, the better the devices, right? Now coming about the instruction stream and the data stream. So what happens is the main memory sends instruction stream to the CPU, and CPU can send the data stream to main memory, and the main memory can send to CPU. So basically data stream is bidirectional, but instruction stream is unidirectional. You can see the diagram, like it's clearly mentioned, the visual thing. Now I think you will be able to answer this question. So the question I asked, is it possible to achieve parallelism? Now let me show you something. In the very first slide, here, we read that a mode of operation in which a processor is split into parts which are executed simultaneously on a different processors attached to the same computer. We're talking about the same computer, right? Same computer meaning same CPU. If we have same CPU, then the answer would be, let me take you again to that question. Yeah, same CPU means with and within the CPU, With many CPUs only, without CPUs, all of the above. Yeah, you got the answer. It's with and within the CPU. It was as simple as that. I hope you liked the video and stay connected. We're gonna go ahead in the next videos. Thank you.